Hello, welcome back to the OX5 Property Blog. This is obviously the quarter review. We've now finished the third quarter and we've got some very interesting stats to discuss with you. Robert, should we start with a little bit of land registry information? That's the interesting bit. So obviously, as we always say, land registry data is 3 months behind. So we're now looking at all the completion data for the end of June. Obviously, July, August, September will be talked about at the end of the next review. June, the amazing thing here, 1st of July 2017 to the 30th of June 2018, there were 341 completions, which was an average price of £378,000 for Kidlington property or OX5 property. The next stat I'm going to give you, there are caveats to come, so don't get excited. But July the 1st, 18 to 30th of June 19, we had 338 completions, so 3 fewer completions, at an average price of £427,479, which is a staggering increase of 13.07%. Now, clearly, anyone who's got anything to do with the property market will know that there's no way house prices have gone up by 13% in the OX5 area. And so we had to dig a bit deeper into the stats. Robert?
Yes. So just digging a little bit deeper into them and looking at actually what is completing and what sort of the transactions there. When you actually looked at sort of the larger scale properties, so things above sort of 800,000, a million, that sort of level, in 2017-18, there were only 6 that were actually above 800,000 in OX5, with the largest one being 1.39 million. When you compare that to 2018-19, that was 22 completions that were above 800,000. 16 of those were over £1 million, and one of them was selling for 2.95 million, so nearly £3 million. Realistically, your average home in Kidlington or in OX5 is not going to be worth £3 million. So those are data points that are far and above the average.
I think importantly as well, with such a small data set of 331 houses, 338 houses, with such a small data set, an anomaly like a £3 million completion will throw things out. So I reran the numbers, whipping out anything over 800,000 to then just get kind of a more of a true representation of Kidlington and OX5 type properties. That was 2017, it came back then at 358,968 as the average, and 2018-19 it was 369,885. So on a positive note, we have actually still seen an increase year on year, but albeit 3%. But that's still an increase, which is very, very contrary to what you'd expect on the ground. I mean, certainly, Rob and I are in estate agency day to day, and it doesn't feel like they've gone up by 3%, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You know, you just have to look at Rightmove and look at the newest properties, and most of the properties you'll see are price reductions. So it's not something that's felt on the ground, but obviously it's just a case.
And again, it's looking at numbers. So when we've drilled down further, the expectation is the government have put in an awful lot of punitive measures to prevent amateur buy-to-let investment, and that's pulling out a lot of prospective buyers from the 2-bed and 1-bed housing market. So of the transactions that are completing, they're family homes now and that sort of thing, rather than these 1-bed, 2-bed flats and little houses and that sort of thing being sold to baby boomers looking to invest for their future and that sort of thing. So that's the land registry data. I think we'll all agree, pretty interesting stuff. Rob, any other stats? What's the quantity of houses on the market?
So the market's doing okay. I mean, we just have to looking from how Alistair Redhouse performed. Best sales month we ever had was at the end of the quarter. Yeah, remarkably, you know, and again that's contrary probably to what a lot's being said in the media.
The reason though we've analysed, so we had, as we say, the best sales month of all time in September, and what I've been saying to my clients is the viewers that are viewing at this kind of pre-Brexit doldrums market, they're people who have to buy, and the sellers who are selling are people who have to sell.
Yeah.
So the ends are coming together quite easily. And so we're getting very few viewings, but those viewers are likely to convert.
Yeah.
Which is
The
interesting.
viewing levels year on year are down. We are not experiencing a huge sway of viewings coming through. But people are offering. These are committed buyers. These are people, as you say, that need to sell and they need to buy.
Yeah.
You don't see that in a market that's completely booming. You might see that there's a couple of want to buyers and that sort of thing out there, and that changes.
Stock levels, what are they up to?
So we've seen in the Q1 and Q2 of this year, stock levels have sort of sat in and around about the mid 300s.
Okay.
So 340 to 330, that sort of level is where the stock levels have been. Getting into Q3, they started off at that sort of level, which compared to 2018 was a vast increase. 2018 we were seeing stock levels around the 260, 250. Things were still selling and churning through. Getting into Q1 and Q2, things obviously weren't moving as much. Now, end of Q3, we've seen that those figures have come way down and are actually now lower stock level wise than they were at the same point in 2018.
Yeah.
So now we have fewer
houses
on the market than we did a year ago.
So a similar level of demand and fewer houses means that things then are technically easier to sell because there's...
Which is probably another reason why we're seeing the market is actually moving quite nicely in terms of buyers, because it shifted a little bit now from potentially being a fully buyer's market, which it has been for the last year. Is it now going to start shifting back into the seller's market once we get over, what are we now, the 9th of October at the time of recording, so it'd be interesting to see in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks
how things pan out
and where we are in that sort of time.
We've got more videos coming, so we're going to be doing a little video. We've had one of our clients was shall we say ripped off by an estate agent, so we're doing a little video on rogue estate agency practice, what to look out for if you're ever engaging with an estate agent. We've got another video coming as well, just with a little bit of information about lettings, things where amateur landlords who are just doing it themselves, there are 170 points of legislation that are tripping landlords up. So just a bit of advice to people who are doing it themselves, just to try and make sure that everyone... So those two videos will be coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. So make sure to subscribe and follow us and that sort of things, just so you get us into your feeds. But that's it from me. Have you got anything else to add, Robert?
That's everything.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Cheers.